of the show where it's time for us to look ahead, of course, to this weekend. Obviously, only 3 college basketball games. Well, 3 that matter. No offense to the NIT and the CBI and whatever crazy tournaments are out there that Detroit Mercy tried to conjure out of thin air to get Antoine Davis.
Kidding me? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't,
That's a whole. I just opened up a whole Pandora's
don't.
box on that.
Get
But
refocused. Get refocused.
exactly, the final 4, 3 big games left going forward. Raider Jim, what do you expect to see this weekend into Monday?
Well, I'm looking at the current odds, and I will tell you what, the Huskies, of course, are the hands-down favorite. They're at minus 125 right now. Aztecs are minus 400, followed by Miami and Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's at like 650. But even for winning the national championship, Huskies are at 125, San Diego State's at 390, Miami's at 440, and Florida Atlantic is at 650 right now on FanDuel. So they're saying Aztecs look like they're the number 2 pick out there to win to get into the national championship game and maybe win the whole thing. So let's hope that ball carries through with the Aztecs and they have a great weekend. Let's hope that come Monday we do a quick podcast if we're able to talk about that national championship game and root them on.
Yeah.
Also, I heard what you said, and again, ladies, forgive my partners, because I want to say congratulations to the number 1 South Carolina, number 2 Iowa, number 1 Virginia Tech, and number 3 LSU women's teams who also play high caliber NCAA basketball. They are playing their Final Four this Friday afternoon and evening to determine which 2 are going to play in the women's national championship. Ladies, all my respect.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark. She is she's an absolute baller. What was it? 41 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds. I might have the rebounds and assists mixed up, but I know it was 41 points. First player in women's tournament history to have a 30 and 40-point triple-double. Absolutely incredible. She's on that Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart level of in terms of just superstardom coming out of college. And you know what? To be fair, it's really nice to see someone other than UConn. And I think that's another thing for the women's game that I can look. I'll be honest. Look, if you're a UConn fan, you don't like it, but it did get a little tough to it being UConn versus Tennessee or UConn versus Stanford every single year. Now, once again, Gino Auriemma, he's never going to apologize for that. I would never expect it, but I do think that will help the women's college basketball, where you have the South Carolinas, the Notre Dames, kind of, I don't want to say new bloods, but pretty much anybody but UConn, because it was about 20 years of absolute dominance from the UConn ladies, for good reason. Don't get me wrong. They did everything right. It wasn't any underhanded tactics, but it is great to see kind of the parity that we see in men's basketball start to move towards women's side as well. But Coach, what are your thoughts as we look ahead to the men's Final Four this weekend?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm just really looking forward to it. Open-minded. I'm cheering on my Aztecs. I know you guys weren't going to bring up CGI and NIT, and Raider Jim had to throw us under the bus, not mentioning the ladies. Great job, ladies. Forgive me, please. But I will bring up the NIT. And the only reason why I'm going to bring up the NIT is because there's a kid by the name of Ty Huntsberry that started his collegiate career as a transfer from a 4-year university down to my beloved San Diego City College. This kid put in 2 seasons at San Diego City College, transferred to a lower level 4-year university. I forgot the name of it. Forgive me, Kai. But then found himself as the newcomer of the year in the conference, got a little love, got himself back into the transfer portal, playing for North Texas, who is in the NIT championship game. I saw him play against Oklahoma State. I believe that was a semifinal the other night. And it was a close game throughout. And they're running offensive sets through Kai in the final minutes to close out the game, along with their other guard, who's like a 5'6" dynamo, national JUCO player of the year himself. But then he's also guarding Oklahoma State's top offensive guy at the end of the game too. So congratulations to Kai. Good luck in the NIT championship game with your North Texas squad. And I'm rooting for you. And once a night, always a night. And guys, I'm looking forward to an awesome weekend of basketball.
Yeah, I think I saw something. Conference USA is 16-1 this
Wow.
postseason. Obviously, North Texas has helped that, and Florida Atlantic as well. And I'm sure there were some other teams that aren't on my radar. But congratulations to the Conference USA to really get those wins in. For me, looking ahead this weekend, obviously, go Aztecs. I'm hoping they take care of business against Florida Atlantic. I expect them to. One of the big things for me for the Aztecs that we've seen is you look at what this team has faced. They faced Charleston that averaged 80 points a game. They held them to 57. You look at Alabama. Furman averaged just below 81 points a game. They held them to 52. Alabama just below 82 points per game. They held them to 64. Creighton 76 points per game, held them to 56. FAU averages very close to 79 points per game. I think San Diego State's going to have to win this game in the high 50s, low 60s, as they've done all season. I do expect they do get that done. And on the other side of things, with all due respect to Jim Larinaga, the Miami Hurricanes, I think they just run into a buzzsaw that is UConn. But Coach, you brought up a very interesting point that I hadn't really thought about, but it was the reliance on shooting, which is great, being in a football stadium. The depth perception is not easy to get used to. You can get in there in practice and do things like that, but you don't have 55, 60,000 people in the background that you will on Saturday to go along with the nerves. So, of course, in that situation, anything can happen, but I do expect UConn to get the job done. Heading into the national title game, I love the Aztecs. I really do. But it would be very, very difficult for me to pick the Aztecs over UConn, assuming the Huskies go out and do what they've done all tournament.
Go ahead. All the national guys are too.
Hey, and you know what? I've been pretty
ahead.
much wrong about everything, so maybe I'm throwing that out there as a kind of a reverse jinx right there. But it has been a crazy tournament, and I would not be surprised to see San Diego State facing a Miami. Depending on what Jim Larinaga's boys can do, I wouldn't be surprised they go out. Maybe they blow the doors off UConn, and we're wondering, wait, did we have that all backwards? But I do know these next 3 games are going to be absolutely fantastic. And of course, here in the city of San Diego, all eyes will be on the Aztecs on Saturday and hopefully on Monday as well. But that is all we have for you. We got final thoughts. So, Coach or Raider Jim, what you got?
I got one more thing to add. Coach triggered my memory when he talked about the young man from City College playing in the Final Four this coming weekend. We're going to see on UConn, guard off the bench.
Yes.
Number 3, Joey Calcaterra, who last year played for the USD Toreros, hit the transfer portal, and probably had his sweetest game against a Gonzaga team that he's ever had in his NCAA career. Joey, congratulations. Good luck. I'm sure everybody in that thriving metropolis of Novato are going to be watching, tuned in, and proud of you.
Yeah, that's a great call right there. And good for him to get that Gonzaga monkey off his back in a very big way. To do that as well, and really hit the jackpot in the transfer portal. Not only do you go to UConn, but you get to play under Danny Hurley, who the Hurley coaching lineage, going back to his dad at, I believe it's St. Francis. I read a book about it, but I think it was St. Francis. It's a very, very small private school. He took them essentially to the best team in New Jersey over the last 20 to 30 years until he retired. So the Hurley family, very, very successful in what they've done. Danny Hurley picking up the torch there. But Coach, will give you the first crack at the final thoughts for the Final Four episode.
Like I said, I'm going to get me an order of chicken wings, some cola, and whatever else that I think is flavorful at the store that I'll go to, and just sit my butt down on the couch all Saturday in preparation for Monday. I think I'm going to come down with something on Monday.
Yeah.
Won't be bothered. And a lot of a lot of good things happening in town starting tomorrow.
Mhm.
Opening day, opening series this weekend for the pods, and yeah, you guys will always have full access to me via text, and I'll get back when I can. But looking forward to a great, fun Final Four. Doesn't have
Yeah.
to be doesn't have to be the way that everyone expected on paper, but this because this is our reality right now. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the way the season is gone, you can't be too surprised that we're in this. I mean, obviously, the teams being there, you can be surprised individually, but to know that, wow, if you would have told us 3 months ago this scenario, maybe without the teams, but you give me the seeds, and you would have been like, you know what? I think that makes sense. I don't know what those teams will be, but those seeds, the way the season's gone, I think
Yeah,
we could see
yeah,
that happening. But
yep.
Raider Jim, your final thoughts for the Final Four preview episode.
Yeah, San Diego State, everybody's with you. The whole city's going to be watching you guys, and kind of hate to see the Padres have their opening weekend on Saturday because I don't think many people are going to be paying attention to that. But I know the Padre organization will do right and make sure they keep things updated on the scoreboard. Go Aztecs.
Amen. For my final thoughts, there's someone out there, and I don't know if they listen. If they do, after I rip you to shreds right here, I plead for you to continue to listen. But this goes out to De'Aaron Fox, who I believe plays for the Sacramento Kings.
Yep.
He was a former Kentucky Wildcat, obviously a very talented basketball player. Had an interesting quote this past weekend, and interesting is the most diplomatic adjective I can put towards that, essentially saying the college game is unwatchable for him. Too many players miss shots, too many coaches make bad decisions, referees make bad decisions. Well, look, I let's just have a heart to heart, Mr. Fox. I'm going to tell you this right now. I knew who you were because you played at Kentucky. You know what I had to Google? I had to Google what NBA team you're on. I don't watch NBA because for all the reasons you think college basketball is unwatchable, those are the exact opposite reasons I think NBA is unwatchable. Play defense. I'm begging somebody in the NBA. I mean, do they even have a defensive player of the year award anymore? I mean, I feel like you flip a coin, you pull a name out of a hat. Hey, you're the defensive player of the year this year. So you stay in your lane, make your millions of dollars, refuse to play defense, pad your stats, and leave college basketball to the people who enjoy the sport of basketball, not the sport of here's a jump shot, here's a travel into a dunk, here's a travel into a layup. We don't need that. I would prefer 55-53 over 155 to 153, 7 out of 7 days, twice on Sunday. So, with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the In the Paint podcast presented by the First Off the Bench podcast network. Everyone comes off the bench. We are first. It's time for you all to go wash your hands and stop hating everybody. As always, huge shout out to Gray Space. Make sure you go give them a follow as well. They do fantastic work making this look as professional as we do. So thank you all again so much. Have a wonderful time.